Hi, Math 8 Scholars. It's Mrs. Carbajal. Today we're going to talk about a topic called scatter plots. So we've now entered into our last unit into statistics, and we're going to go ahead and talk about scatter plots. So before we get going here, just know that a scatter plot is a graph with points plotted to show a relationship between two sets of data. And another way we say two sets of data in math is called bivariate, just like a bicycle. Okay. And then we're going to start seeing a couple different types of scatter plots. So this, for instance, if you're going to compare the temperature as well as ice cream sales, that would be comparing two sets of data, bivariate data. Here we have one where we're comparing age in years to height in inches. Again, that's two sets of data that we're comparing. And I have a feeling this last graph is going to be cut off by my video, but it looks like the price of objects and buyers, number of buyers, okay? So in addition to scatter plots, we need to understand something called association. Okay, first of all, association describes how sets of data are related. So there's three types of association that we're going to talk about more on Wednesday or Thursday's lesson. But just to kind of get a sneak peek, a positive association means both sets increase together. So that kind of makes sense. A negative association means that as one set of data increases, the other decreases. And no association means that there is no relationship between the two sets of data. So my picture is covering up the no association graph, but just know that it's kind of like spots of data everywhere, and there's no what we call correlation, okay? And then a positive association could look like this. It doesn't have to be in a completely straight line, but more or less as your x variable or your independent variable is increasing, so does the dependent variable. Okay, and negative association kind of looks like a negative slope. Doesn't have to be linear, doesn't have to be in a straight line, but notice overall as your x variable increases, so as this number gets larger, notice how the y value gets smaller. Okay, and again, no association. It's hard to see here, but there's a bunch of data just kind of randomly on the graph. Okay, so scatter plot and association is kind of needed in order to do today's lesson. What I'm going to have you guys do today is take a look at the data that that many of you gave me earlier this week. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. I've done this for you. In the future, you'll have to create your own scatter plot, but this is the data I got. And I took the data of, let's see, I have 31 students. Total of 31 students provided me full data. Some of you either provided the data late or left off your height, so I wasn't able to use it. But here are 31 students' data. And again, I'm comparing height in inches to shoe size, including half shoe sizes in men's. Okay, and if you're really counting the dots here, you may notice that there's only 28 dots. However, 31 students. That's because a couple of the dots repeated, a couple of the points repeated, because some of you had the same exact height and shoe size as some of your peers. Okay, so let's get to today's assignment. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it's more of an exploration here, so it should be light work. Okay, so take a look at the data that I have screenshotted. Keep in mind the independent variable here is the height in inches. Okay, that's why I didn't start this graph at 0, because no one in this class or no one born is at a height of 0. Okay, shoe size too, you notice that I started this graph, well, it does start at 1, but notice how most shoe sizes are up here in terms of men's, going all the way up to about a size 12 there. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and analyze. One of the first questions I want you to answer is, what type of slope would you say this graph has? Is it positive? Does it seem negative? Does it seem 0 or undefined? And then give a justification. So we're going to learn to speak like mathematicians and use full sentences. I would argue that this graph has a, oh no, what kind of slope? Okay, let me go ahead and make that color pop for you. All right, describe the similarities and differences between point A and B in terms of height and shoe sizes. So notice how I labeled this purple point here as point A, and then we have this green point here, and I labeled it point B. So one similarity between points A and B is, oops, got an extra E in there. One difference between these points is, okay, so on and so forth. So overall, just making sure that we're speaking in complete sentences. Don't just write one-word answers. And then 3, I'd like you to compare the similarity and differences between point C and B. So this green point here, and I think that's a blue point there, okay? And you can zoom in and make this a little larger on your end as well, okay? And then this question here. Imagine that we took a sample from Miss Munoz's class, and a student has a height of 64 inches. What shoe size would you expect that student to wear? Go ahead and justify your answer, okay? So you can, this is an opinion here, but I do want you to try to back your opinion up. There is no 100% right answer, and there's no 100% wrong answer. So I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed and saying, Mrs. Carbajal, I don't know. I feel like there's not enough data. This is more of like an opinion on your part based on the data that is in this graph. And then number 5 is the last question. What is one mathematical observation you have about the data in the graph? So this could be nearly anything, but it's got to be something that you notice mathematically. So you can't just put the points look like the colors of the rainbow. Okay, I'm going to need something a little bit more. Or the points are round. I need something a little bit more mathematical than that. So something that you notice, some kind of conclusion you can draw, or maybe not draw from this data. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This is just us dipping our toes in this unit. This is meant to be an exploration. This is not, you know, the whole unit. Okay, and this is going to really help us for Wednesday/Thursday's lesson. Please keep in mind this week, there are going to be 2 lessons. So my Monday, Tuesday kiddos, this is your first lesson, and then hop on Wednesday, Thursday to do the second set as well. We'll do more of a direct instruction lesson. And for Wednesday, Thursday, you are going to need your textbook and a pencil, and that's pretty much it, okay? Don't forget to turn in this assignment no later than Tuesday at 3:15. So I'm asking for a shorter deadline on Tuesday, 3:15. And that's it. If you have any questions, you guys know how to get a hold of me and when to Zoom. Okay, take care and bye-bye.